God's strength. When we are exhausted, when it feels like we are never going to get it right, God tells us to come to Him. Our human strength is limited, but God's strength and power are limitless. When we are operating in our own strength, we always burn out. But God promises that when we slow down, trust His strength, and move at His speed, we will never grow weary. Find strength in that safe, secret place of yours under the shadow of the Almighty. Have a good day. Let us continue with Chapter 1, Introduction to Macroeconomics. Please turn your textbook to page number 5. Page number 5, 1.7. So what do you mean by an economic system? We have already seen that in the previous classes. I just want to recall that again. What do you mean by an economic system? Economic system refers to the manner in which individuals and institutions are connected together to carry out economic activities in a particular area. So it refers to the manner in which individuals and institutions are connected. Why are they connected? To carry out economic activities in a particular area. So it is otherwise the methodology of doing economic activities to meet the needs of the society. So there are three major economic systems: the capitalistic economy, the socialistic economy, and the mixed economy. Additionally, you have a box item in your book, globalism. So what do you mean by globalism? The new market ideology of globalization that connects nations together through international trade and aiming at global development is called as globalism. Nowadays, each country is dependent on the other country. Countries are dependent on each other. So this is a new ideology. Globalization means it connects nations together through international trade. There is trade all over the world. International trade, it is aimed for global development. This globalism, this term is also called as extended capitalism. Globalism is also termed as extended capitalism. So first, let us see capitalism. This is one of the economic systems. Capitalism is one of the economic systems. Adam Smith is the father of capitalism. Adam Smith, he is the father of capitalism. Capitalistic economy is termed as free economy. It is called as free economy or laissez-faire in Latin. What do you mean by laissez-faire? It means non-intervention by the government. The government does not intervene in any of the activities. Freedom is given to the producers as well as the consumers. So it is a free economy or market economy where the role of the government is minimum and the market determines all the economic activities. So in this system, the means of production are privately owned and market only determines the economic activities. Examples for capitalistic economy are America, West Germany, Australia, and Japan. So here the private individuals, they have the freedom to undertake any occupation and develop any skills. Individuals are free to take up any occupation and they can develop their skills. However, they do not undertake large social welfare measures to safeguard the downtrodden people from the market forces. So here activities are done on the basis of profit. It is not for social welfare. So the idea of social welfare motive is limited or nil in a capitalistic economy. So Adam Smith is the father of capitalism. Here, complete freedom is given to the individuals to produce whatever they want, and they can develop their skills also. The main motive is profit. Examples for capitalistic countries are America, West Germany, Australia, and Japan. Now, let us see some of the features of capitalistic economy. First one is private ownership. Private ownership. The basic feature of capitalism is that all resources, namely land, capital, machines, mines, all the resources are owned by private individuals. So all the resources are owned by the private people. The owner has the right to sell. He has got the right to own. If he wants, he can keep the property or he can sell it. The property can be transferred to his children after his death. So the first and foremost feature of capitalism is private ownership. Second one is freedom of choice. Freedom of choice. What do you mean by freedom of choice? Each individual is free to carry out any occupation or trade at any place. If you want, you can be a mason. If you want, you can be a professor. You can be a doctor. Okay, you can be an engineer. So each individual is free to carry out any occupation or trade at any place and produce any commodity. Similarly, consumers are also free to buy any commodity as per their choice. Consumers can also buy whatever they want to buy. Whatever they want to use, they can buy. If it is available in the market, it can be a Benz car or Mercedes car or a Sandro, or if they want to have a pizza, they can have, or if they want to have rice or dosa, whatever they want, they can have. There is freedom. There is absolute freedom of choice for both the consumer and the producer. Next is profit motive. Profit is the driving force behind the economic activities in a capitalistic economy. So people are doing all these occupation or business only for profit. There is no welfare. People are driven by profit motive. Each individual or organization produce only goods which ensure them high profit. They produce goods which give them high profit. So they use advanced technology, they use division of labor. So the golden rule for producer under capitalism is to maximize profit. So the golden rule under capitalism is profit or to maximize profit. So we have seen 3 points: private ownership, freedom of choice, profit motive. Are you able to understand? The next one will be free competition. What do you mean by free competition? There is free competition is in product market as well as factor market. So here I am talking about two markets. Product means goods, raw materials. That is only called as product market. Factor market means what are the factors? Land, labor, capital, and organization. So in both the markets, in product market where they deal with goods and commodities, and factor markets where they deal with the factors of production, there is free competition. The government or any authority cannot prevent firms from buying or selling in the market. Nobody can stop the producer from buying or selling any product in the market. So there is free competition between the buyer as well as the seller. Nobody can force anyone to buy a particular product, or nobody can force anyone to sell a particular product. So the buyer and seller have freedom. So here the competition is free competition. Next is price mechanism. Price mechanism is called as the heart of any capitalistic economy. Based on the price only, the producers tend to produce goods. If the product which they produce fetches good price, then they are forced to produce more of that particular product. So all economic activities are regulated through price mechanism. That is the market forces, namely the demand and the supply. Based on the demand only, the producers tend to supply. Okay. Next one is the role of the government. So here it is private ownership. They have the freedom, profit motive. Then we spoke about price mechanism. So here the role of the government is very, very minimal, as the price mechanism regulates the economic activity. So the economy is driven by price mechanism and profit motive. So here the role of the government is very, very limited. The government provides only basic services like defense, public health, education. Government stops with giving all these things. They protect the country, defense. They take care of the health of the nation, public health, and they give education. Because in all these areas, there is no profit. You cannot make more profit in these areas. So welfare motivated schemes are taken by the government, and profit motivated things are produced by the individuals. So there is inequality of income. Looking at all this, you can be sure that there will be an inequality of income. A capitalist society is divided into two classes. You have two classes in the capitalistic economy. The first one is called as the people who are termed as haves, and the other one is called as the have-nots. Haves and have-nots. What do you mean by haves? People who own property, people who have everything are called as the haves. People who do not have anything, people who have to work under someone are called as the have-nots. So in the capitalistic economy, there is inequality of income, and the society is divided into two classes: haves, that is those who own property, and have-nots, who do not own property and work for their living. So the outcome of this situation is that the rich become richer and the poor become poorer. Rich people will be becoming richer and richer, whereas the poor people will become poorer and poorer. So there is economic inequality. So the economic inequality goes on increasing in a capitalistic economy. So these are the features of capitalism: private ownership, freedom of choice, profit motive, free competition, price mechanism, role of government, and the last point, seventh point, is inequalities of income. Next, let us go on to the merits of capitalism. Merits of capitalism. First one is automatic working, efficient use of resources, incentives for hard work, economic progress, consumer sovereignty, higher rates of capital formation. Last one is development of new technology. So let us see the merits in detail. First one, automatic working. So without any government intervention, the economy works automatically. Here the role of the government is very, very limited. Government takes care of defense, education and public wealth only. The left is given to private individuals. So there is no government intervention and the economy works automatically. Next one, all the resources are used efficiently. All resources are put into optimum use. What do you mean by optimum? All the resources are used up to a maximum level, the best possible level. That is only called as optimum. Incentives for hard work. Hard work is encouraged. Hard work is encouraged. People who work really hard, they are paid more. That is only called as incentive. You work more, you get more. If you don't work, you get less. Hard work is encouraged and entrepreneurs get more profit for more efficiency. So there is incentive for hard work. First one, automatic working of the economy. Next one is efficient uses of all the resources, incentives for hard work, and naturally there will be economic progress. Production and productive activities are at a very high level in a capitalistic economy. Everyone wants to work hard because they are getting incentives. The rich, they want to become richer. So everybody wants to give their maximum. So automatically production and productivity activities will be at the highest. There is economic progress. Consumer sovereignty. What do you mean by consumer sovereignty? Whatever is required by the consumer is produced by the producer. So the producers are guided by the consumers. Whatever the consumer wants, only that good or that commodity is produced by the producer. Okay. So consumer chooses and the producer produces. So consumer only guides the producer to produce whatever is needed. That's why consumers are considered to be sovereign. All production activities are aimed at satisfying the consumer. The producers, they want to satisfy the consumer. Whatever the consumer wishes, only that is done by the producer. Okay. So there is consumer sovereignty. Higher rates of capital formation. So in a capitalistic economy, there is increase in savings and investment, which leads to capital formation. Capital formation means accumulation of capital. Capital is one of the main resources for production. There are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, and organization. Capital is a very, very important factor of production. So without capital accumulation, you cannot do anything. So people are saving and there is investment. So this leads to higher rate of capital formation. Development of new technology. Here, the main aim is profit. So as profit is aimed at, producers invest on new technology. Producers want to produce more. They want to give quality goods to the consumers. Only if they give quality goods, the consumers will buy from them. The next time, if they want to buy the product, only if there is quality in the product, they will buy. So the producers invest on new technology and produce quality goods. So first we saw the features, 7 features of capitalism. You can easily remember. Merits, again we saw 7 points. So 7 plus 7. Next is demerits. Here you have only 5 points. For features we had 7 points. For merits we had 7 points. For demerits there are only 5 points. Concentration of wealth and income, wastage of resources, class struggle, business cycle, and production of non-essential goods. So concentration of wealth and income. So here in capitalism, the concentration of wealth and income is in few hands, and thereby it increases inequalities of income. Already we have seen that, is it not? Haves and have-nots. The rich become richer and the poor become poorer. So wealth is concentrated in few hands. So there is inequality of income. Wastage of resources. Large amount of resources are wasted on competition. There is competition, there is free competition. Everybody wants to promote their good. So there is competition, there is advertisement, and there is also duplication of products. So wastages of resources are also seen there. Large amount of resources are wasted on competitive advertising and duplication of products. Next is class struggle. Capitalism leads to class struggle because it divides the society into two. We have already seen that. Haves and have-nots, or capitalists and workers. Some are capitalists. Capitalists are the owners and they have workers under them. So there is class struggle in capitalism. Business cycle. What do you mean by business cycle? There is a fluctuation in the trade cycle. Free market system leads to frequent, violent economic fluctuations and crises. What do you mean by fluctuation? Sometimes there will be boom, sometimes recession. Both will happen. There will be boom, depression, and recession. So there is a business cycle seen in capitalism. The last point is production of non-essential goods. The prime motive is profit. So just to make profit, the producers produce non-essential goods also, goods which are harmful. For example, alcohol. This is non-essential goods, but they make a lot of profit. So people are producing alcohol. So production of non-essential goods are seen in capitalistic economy. Even the harmful goods are produced if there is possibility to make profit. So in this class, we have seen about capitalism. Let's go through it again. Okay. So I started with economic systems. So I gave a definition for economic system. The 3 major economic systems are capitalistic economy, socialistic economy, and mixed economy. Apart from that, we have seen globalism. Then who is the father of capitalism? Adam Smith. Adam Smith is also the father of economics. Okay, Adam Smith is the father of economics and he's also the father of capitalism. Then countries which practice capitalism are America, West Germany, Australia, and Japan. Next, we saw some of the features of capitalism. We have seen 7 features. Okay, then merits, 7 merits, and demerits, we have seen 5 demerits. So some of the questions, book back questions, you can turn on to page number 17. 25th question. What do you mean by capitalism? The answer is found on page 5 or on page 14 also you have the answer. Capitalism, the system where the means of production are privately owned and market determines the economic activities. This is the answer for question number 25. What do you mean by capitalism? Then the next question is, outline the major merits of capitalism. So what are the merits? For that you have to write all the 7 points. Outline the major merits of capitalism. This is a 3-mark question, so you can give all the 7 points. Next one is, distinguish between capitalism and globalism. You have to give the difference between capitalism and globalism. The answer is given on page number 14. You have to write about capitalism, then you can write about globalism. An economic system where the economic activities of a nation are interconnected and interdependent on other nations is called as globalism. Okay, so I think we have discussed the questions also. With this, I will stop. I will post the questions, homework questions in the WhatsApp group and the Google Classroom. Thank you, girls.